Hi, I'm glad that you're still following us. My name is Javier Perales. I'm Senior Strategist at Purpose Lab. And today we're going to be talking about the core of their strategic planning model and execution, which is the strategic DNA, the reason why we do what we do or organizations do what we do. Now, a very quick reminder, remember that previously we talked about the outer ring, the models, frameworks, structure of what we're going to plan. Today, we're talking about the why we're doing what we're doing. And if time permits, we're also going to the first stage of the analyze, formulate, and implement process, right? So let's start with the strategic DNA. If you haven't heard about him already, I recommend that you take a look at Start With Why by Simon Sinek. It's a very great book. It's very, very nicely explained. Why organizations need to start thinking about what they do, and this is really what they sell. So when we're talking about strategic DNA, we need to think about the word purpose. And this is so relevant that we even named our company like this, Purpose Lab, right? One of the things that we want to have is a vision. And this is not just something that is very mentioned all the time, but it's all cloudy and up there. Now, vision is really a visualization exercise that needs to happen. It tells you, what do you want, or what do we as an organization, what do we want to become, where are we headed? And the whole concept of establishing a proper vision is that this is aspirational. This is something that we want, that our team feels motivated to get there, that they feel moved to get there. Emotion is most relevant within organizations, and vision is the reason why we're going to be doing what we're doing. Is, let's say that our purpose is our North Star, then the vision is the closest next thing to getting to our North Star. If we would compare strategic management with walking through a padded mountain, then that North Star would be whatever it's up there that's always pointing true north and telling us where we need to be walking at. And probably the vision would be the highest peak that we are aspiring to climb, at least in the foreseeable future. Now, of course, visions you can update. Purpose, they are usually a little bit more long-term, or they don't usually change as much. But visions, or vision exercise, you together with a team, with your organization, are the only ones that are able to know where a vision exercise goes 2 years in the future, 3 years in the future, 10 years in the future. How much is too far into the future for us? We've got clients that build a vision just for next year. We have clients that build a vision for the next 20, 30, even 40 years, right? So this is something that we want our teams to feel that they are aspired to. The difference between a vision and a mission is, in a mission, we want to tell the world what drives us, what's our business, who are we, and what do we do? And we want to take care in making sure that our mission is not really narrow, that they kind of put us always into the same drawer. And for example, if you're a cell phone company, you probably don't want to have your mission saying, hey, we do cell phones. You probably want to think about communication. If you're a computer company, you probably just don't want to narrow it down to computer. You want to make life easier through technology, that kind of thing. So in the mission, you're explaining what is it that you do in a broader way, in a broader concept, and it also touches a little bit on the philosophy. Another important element within the purpose of the organization is what are going to be the values of the organization. And these values, they will work as a frame of reference. They need to be something that are so relevant that we would stick to them, even if it meant that it would hurt our business, right? So you have like an ultimate value, honesty within the organization. So that means that, for example, if you were asked to give a bribe to gain some huge business for your organization, you would not even think about it and definitely not do it. In that case, you can, of course, call that a value within the organization, right? So you need to think of values as a frame of references. Think that you are never willing to let go of, that you would be willing to defend, even if it would meant that defending these values would hurt your business. And that is what a true value is for your organization. Once you found these values, then of course, you know that you have some common ground with the people that are fighting side to side with you. After putting together the proper vision, mission, values, and all of this being part of the purpose of the organization, Then you also need to think about your focus areas and your strategic objectives. This is one of the most important steps in a proper strategic planning, and is one step that is very often missed by different teams doing exercises. They just jump straight into planning and thinking about ideas and projects and then trying to organize them. No, there's really this focus area, these objectives, they come from the model and the framework that you put together in the previous stage while building your outer ring. That's why we started there. But this is really what will guide your strategy in time, right? Having the right focus area, having the right objectives will ensure that you continue to be properly focused, that you know what you're working on. Think of this as your stepping stones. So your purpose is that North Star, your vision is the highest peak of the mountain you're willing to climb. The mission is a little bit of what you explain or how you explain the road in which you're in or the travel in which you're in. Values are the frame of reference in your every action, and your focus areas and your objectives are going to be your stepping stones. What are the important things that you would want to achieve in every one of the different focus area within the organizations? And for that purpose, do take into account what is the right framework or what is the framework that you chose. Doing this will result in having the right inspiration and direction for your organization. And these are all key elements to build your future. This is why we start here. Now, if you have the right why within the organization, then you can start thinking about where are you currently standing. And this is where we go. If you take a look here at your strategic model, we've covered the outer ring, we've covered the inner circle. Now we're starting here with the analyze. Where are we going to play? Where are we standing right now? This is what we call the strategic obeya. Obeya is a Japanese word, roughly translating to big room or war room. And the whole idea of the strategic obeya is that we can put together all the relevant information that we have our team to have in order for us to be able to start working into the creative process. This is all about filling ourselves with a lot of information. So that's why we do, for example, an external analysis with tools such as the Pastel analysis. So what's happening in the political environment, in the economical environment, society, technology, legal, and ecology, right? So, or ecological. You also do the Porter 5 strengths analysis. And this is all about what's happening outside your organization. You also want to take a look at how has your business been shaped in the near past, or not so near past, probably the last 10 years. And what are you being able to foresee in the near and not so near future? So probably the next 10 years. So build a timeline about what are the most relevant trends about what we're doing, and also think internally. So just like we said, well, these are all things that are happening around our organization that might affect our organization. Well, what are some of the things that are happening or that we have within the organization that are saying, this is what we currently have. This is the internal analysis. And this all happens as part of the strategic obeya step in our workshops. That a lot of this happens as a pre-work to the workshops. And then when people come into the workshop, all this information is shared with them and they're literally bombarded with information, and they're given some time to be able to process everything that's happening. Of course, as the team is part of putting this together, so they're not completely in the blank, right? Going back to this internal analysis, so what are our current resources and capabilities? What are some of this VRIO resources and capabilities? So something that's valuable, rare, inimitable, and that the organization can properly process. And what are some of the ways in which we're actually assessing performance of the organization? So your KPIs. Also, business model canvas. Many times confused with, so instead of doing a strategic planning exercise, I'm going to be building a business model canvas. Business model canvas is a very powerful tool, but as I say to some of the students that we got and some of the people that we work with, business model canvas is a very relevant chapter within the book for strategic management. Business model canvas happens at different stages within the strategic management process, but it cannot substitute on its own a strategic planning and strategic management exercise. We will talk about this a little bit more in just a minute, but do take into account that building your full strategic obeya will, at the end of the day, bring you the proper SWOT analysis. So what are some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, but just not out of a common brainstorm that many times just tends to happen, but actually with the right basis. Again, going very quickly back to the business model canvas, this is part of what happens within the internal and external analysis. We want to make sure that we understand who our customer is, what our value proposition is, and that's the value proposition map. So who our customer is, what our value proposition is, how do we relate with our customer, what needs to happen in order for us to be able to deliver this value proposition, what our business formula, revenue stream, and cost structure is. Yes, we want to assess the business model canvas. We use all of Mr. Alex Osterwalder's principles. They're the 7 questions that are most widely used for startups. There are also other set of questionnaires that are used for companies that are already in the works or already working. So a business model canvas is not only used to assess new businesses, but also running businesses and how can we improve them. And that's probably what's most relevant about this analysis, not only understanding what our business model actually looks like, but how can we innovate within that business model. So we will also have some sources of inspiration and things that we want to challenge within our business model canvas. We ourselves, part of our slogan, we say that we design, challenge, and transform business models. And this is because this is the way that our value proposition is going to be delivered to our customer segments. But at this point in time, what you and your teams are going to be doing, you're basically going to be understanding that, analyzing that, and getting ready for the next step, which is actually your formulation or ideation for the strategies. Talk about this in our next video. Thank you for sticking.